Perfect timing. Gotta love that I start right when an ambulance is going down the street. But hello. Look, everyone's excited for this episode of the Marvel Rewind so much that the 911's being called. But welcome to another episode of the Marvel Rewind, episode number 5, in this case, for the Miss Marvel series. I can't get over how perfectly timed that was. But yes, Jake and I both got the memo that today is a red-colored day, apparently. But yeah.
There's a specific reason why, Brian, and it has to do with this episode.
Can you
pinpoint it? You can pinpoint it, right?
Yeah, I can. Very good. Clever. But before we get started, how you doing, good sir?
I'm good. Been a little bit of a longer day with work, but I'm off, and we're late on my account because I was dealing with the dogs. One was locked up all day. One was in the backyard all day. So I had to make sure that they were settled before we jumped on here. But no, I'm this episode's interesting. This episode is interesting, and it's going to create it's going to create an interesting conversation. It's because we only have one left, and I'll save it all for the conversation. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Not too bad. Starting to get a little hotter. Wouldn't mind that to not.
What? It's not even that hot outside.
I'm on the second floor, so I'm closer to
the sun. That hot.
I'm closer to the sun than you are, so it's a little bit. But should we just dive straight into it? Before that, I'm loving that everyone is still going crazy from little plug last night's schmodown of talking about whiskey. Like that's my whole entire stream has been whiskey talk, and I'm like, I have no business in this. So if you're into a certain point of view, continue. But in this case, we're here for Miss Marvel. I effing loved this episode.
Hey, it was a great episode. So before we get into it, Brian, I don't know if you've seen it, but have you seen the online chatter of people not bashing? Okay, people criticizing because Iman. Oh my God! Vellani. That she barely was in an episode of her own TV show. People are actually coming after the show and the writers and Marvel because she was barely in an episode of her own TV show. That is currently where we are at in fandom. Morons. Anyway, go ahead.
I have not seen that. That is comical to me because the story tells her story. So yeah, of course it's important to have her involved. But if you're going to tell this person's story, you need that. That looks good. What are you drinking? Is that just a milkshake? A protein shake. Oh, okay. I thought maybe you snuck something from Dutch Bros and just poured in a. But
I wish.
Yeah, that is absolute ridiculous that people are complaining about this because this is honestly one of maybe my favorite Disney Plus episodes ever.
Out of all of them.
I cannot get over how good this episode is.
So I will say that and I obviously would have to go back and watch, but I think it might be the most important Disney Plus episode that we've ever gotten from Marvel. Not just in the sense of the Kamala Khan story, but as far as historical events. We talked about it last week, how Watchmen did, that terrible tragedy at the beginning of their show for their one season. Yeah, the Tulsa massacre. But I think, this obviously tells a not a better version, but a little bit of a lighter version of terrifying events. It's not as horrific, or at least it wasn't portrayed as horrific. It's hard to say it's one of my favorites or the best, just because there's been so many episodes and I don't remember every single one of them. I know that I loved episodes of Loki and WandaVision and Falcon and all these other shows that were happening. I've loved so many of those episodes. But it is without a doubt one of the best written and directed and important episodes that we've ever gotten when it comes to MCU television. And I'm not afraid that it might be the single most important one, just because of the events that were taking place. I also love Aisha, love her, like absolutely love her, and I'm so bummed that we're not going to get her anymore. I really thought there was a slight chance that we were going to get her. That like maybe she got away somehow, or there was a separation and she had to go into hiding or whatever. But spoiler alert, unfortunately, she was killed. But for
Najma.
Yeah, and obviously it was for a reason, and she protected her family and set the path forward for Kamala to eventually become there. But what a cool moment to see them kind of come face to face. And it was a bummer that Aisha didn't know that it was Kamala rather than thinking it was her own daughter, which I think is okay as far as how the story goes. And, it meant more to Aisha thinking that rather than Kamala trying to be like, no, I'm your great granddaughter, actually. Especially in the moment, obviously. But yeah, I really love, because we've been talking about it, and I think both of us have talked about how we really want to see the flashback. We want to see the story of what happened, because it's been talked about the entire season, right? Of Aisha and the partition and all that stuff, and like the separation of the Indian and Muslim cultures from the British Empire, essentially. And not only did we get that, but we got the story of Kamala's heritage, and what a great way to tell it. Like, I thought it was fantastic. And again, I love Aisha. I love her. I'm so bummed we're not going to get anymore.
Same.
Like, really, really bummed that we're not going to get her anymore.
I really want to see more of the two actors that
played mom and dad.
The great grandparents. Yeah, they were.
We also didn't get to see her use the powers, which was a big bummer. Like, I wanted to see her unlock that freaking bangle for a second, man.
I thought for sure she was going to be the one that like sends the stars or whatever, if you want to call it.
But what a cool realization for Kamala, realizing the entire family story, everything that's been talked about, was about her.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And it's funny because I know a lot of people last week in the chat were saying that we were going to get a Prisoner of Azkaban moment where it's like the time turner, and you guys nailed it on the head. I didn't think it was going to be that.
Did I bring that up? I think I brought that up, right?
I have no idea. If it was in the chat, or I remember seeing it in the chat, someone saying that they thought it might have been brought up from that. But yeah, it literally, I'm not kidding when I said like I was like tearing up at certain points. Like it for these characters that I just met. Like,
well, it's when she leaves her daughter.
Yeah, like everything.
When she leaves her, yeah.
Like it was just like heartbreaking, and it was just like, oh my god, like this is like a real. Anytime that like I can learn a little bit about something like this through a TV show, something I enjoy, like Gordon, I think it was you that, and I remember it popping
Gordon's trying to take my spotlight. I see you, Gordon. I see you.
But yeah, it's just like, and again, I know we talked about it, how obviously it's not going to be something in American history that you're going to learn, but like, I've learned so much about the partition in 5 weeks that I would have never, ever even known.
So I'm like, and we talked about the episode overall anyway, or at the start. I am obsessed with how the episode started. With the old school like clips that were playing at the very beginning. It
gave me Indiana Jones.
Oh my god, I was just gonna say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Totally Indiana Jones, and specifically the ride from Disneyland, because that's what they do on the screen, when they kind of introduce you to what's going on for the story. It was a total like flashback.
Thought of you.
100%. It was a total indie move. I love that they did it, but I also really love it because we've spent 4 weeks hearing partition from not just Kamala's family, but her friends and their families, etc. But now, obviously, we had like the basics of what it was, and like it was the clearing and separation of these two cultures, and because of the British ruling and all of this stuff. But then when we get to all these flashbacks and this narration and everything, it's like this whole flooding of information that we've never heard of before in like the best way possible. It wasn't like an overload or anything.
No.
It was exactly what was needed, because last week, right, we see her time travel to the back and we're like, oh my God, she's there. Like, she's actually there. But now, instead of just picking right back up with her, they had the absolute, like, for lack of a better term, the balls to start the entire episode with not just the information of the partition, but Aisha leading up to then seeing Kamala for the last, like, what, 10 minutes of the show?
If that.
Episode? Like, she wasn't in it, obviously, very much. She was in it for that one moment with Aisha. Then she traveled back to the moment where that void opens up. Like, it takes a lot to do that. And when your star of the show is obviously Kamala and Imani Vallon, and then you go and you're like, you know what? No, this is so important. We're going to dedicate an entire episode to telling this story. Absolutely. And they did it great. And like you, there's a lot of people out there just like you who are saying this might be my favorite episode they've ever done at anything Marvel TV, which is so great.
It was so beautifully done and directed and everything. Like, it, I was blown away by it. Blown away. And I didn't stay up till midnight to watch it. I ended up going to bed and waking up and watching it, which I'm kind of glad I did, because I feel like I wouldn't have appreciated it, like being half groggy, like ready to fall asleep. But it was just so, just the way it was shot from beginning to like end, and just the characters that they had, just everything about it was just so, it drew me. I don't think I touched my phone, like,
that's a big thing for you.
Yeah. It just literally was just drawn into it, and how it just ends on a dime where I'm just like, no, like, I need some more. It was so well done. And the amount of time each episode has been perfect. Every single
one clocked in around like 40 minutes, I want to say.
Was it? It didn't feel like it.
I think it was around it. I know. I think it was around 40 minutes after all the credits and stuff. By the way, I love that the credits were in Muslim. I don't know what the language is called. Arabic. Thank you. I was waiting for it to kind of transition into like saying Miss Marvel, but I love that it was just all Arabic. Like, what a cool way to.
If we're wrong, I believe it is Arabic, but if
we're not trying to. Yeah, it's not 100% sure. So yeah, I love that they are. We talked about this with Shang-Chi. We've talked about this with, certain aspects of Eternals. We just talked about it last night with Everything Everywhere All at Once, because of the representation. That's what Marvel is heavily focused on now. Yeah. There's a giant conversation about this new phase of Marvel movies and how maybe they aren't as connected or great, or, the continuity isn't as clear yet. But what we know so far is that the representation is the single most important thing that they are doing.
Every single
Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, now Miss Marvel, the three that really kind of, like Eternals has it with certain characters.
Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier had it.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, obviously a person of color taking over the shield from Cap, and different aspects of that. But like, it's clear that is what their goal is, and it's been talked about for so long, so many years through the comic book genre and just in film in general. But it's so great to see, because like, and we've talked about it throughout this show, how for us it's something completely new, and we're learning about so many new things, but in the best way possible,
in a way that we're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, and this episode was like the final nail in the coffin of being like, this show is about this.
Yeah,
it's not like we don't care about connecting the dots to Captain Marvel, or we don't care about connecting the dots to Nick Fury or whatever. They are so, and I said it in like maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, they are so focused on the character of Kamala Khan, not Miss Marvel.
Oh, thank you, John.
Urdu, and which
Urdu.
is said in the subtitles. Thank you, John. Thank
That
you.
makes sense, obviously.
Yes, the language is Urdu, so thank you. I love that, and that went also for Moon Knight, right? And that they were focused on the characters rather than just the superhero. I think so far, Miss Marvel's doing it the best. It is 100% focused on Kamala Khan, her heritage, her people, her culture, and it's such a great, cool, fun watch every week because it's literally like we're getting a history lesson every Wednesday. And it's so fun.
It's like I said from the beginning, I had no idea what partition was. I didn't know it was in 1942, that it was the separation of India and Pakistan, and that it was the Hindus of India based and the Muslims fleeing to Pakistan. None of that. I knew none of that. And in 5 episodes of a Marvel superhero show, I've learned more about that than I ever did in history.
It's cool.
It's incredible.
That's the California education system for you right there, guys. If you want to know, there you go.
United States education system.
California's pretty terrible, though.
Yeah, well, it's just I appreciate it. I appreciate learning these things, and just it's so interesting. And I tweeted it today. The storytelling, the way they are telling these stories, these writers are just, and it comes from writers being of that culture and representation, because they're not going to half-ass it. You're not going to just get some random white people that are going to just tell the story of a Muslim family. We wouldn't be getting this if it was that type of way. So it's the representation through and through, from the bottom, which is the people creating the show, to the people that are the ones acting the show. And you can tell by how great it is. And honestly, to those people that are bagging the show as boring and stuff, I feel so bad for you.
They suck. Those people, they suck.
Yeah. I just feel bad that you are not enjoying something that is incredible. And the storytelling is the best part of this whole entire thing. It's just, I love it. It's Miss Marvel might be my second favorite show under WandaVision, and it's not even over yet. It's just over Moon Knight. I think it's better than Moon Knight.
I think it is too, 100%. Moon Knight was very inconsistent in parts.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah.
Let's get into some MCU stuff, though, Brian. Like we are called Marvel Rewind for a reason.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, and I always forget her name. Is it
Najma?
Najma.
Mm-hmm.
The SOB is gone, but she seems to have transferred powers to her son, which is interesting.
I have a theory behind this.
Okay, shoot it. By the way, do you know if he's a character that's from the comic books?
Kamran?
Yeah. Is he does he become like some kind of hero or villain?
I believe so.
Okay.
I know he is in the comics. He's not a made-up character.
Okay.
I believe not anti-hero, but he kind of just floats.
Okay.
In a way, I know one of my buddies was like, they didn't even the villains literally showed up and killed themselves. They were like, what? That's dumb. And I'm like, in a way, I kind of don't think they killed themselves. I always kind of believed by them living in this light dimension, the Noor dimension, physically, they are not people walking around.
So do you think that Najma and her friend are alive?
No, I think they are dead. But
because just what Najma said of I can make it through is that to me leads it to believe yes, in fact they 100% are dead.
I think she's dead, but the energy is absorbed into this light, whatever, and hence it got transferred to Kamran. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like they don't die, they just kind of like their energy just gets absorbed. I mean, they're dead. She's not going to appear again.
She's
But
100% dead because we saw skeleton bones.
yeah,
turn
that
to
was
dust.
pretty rough. Like them melting.
That's a choice right there to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like you could have just made them disintegrate or like
Poof.
turn to air,
Yeah.
but no, you decided to burn their skin and show bones turning to dust.
Yeah, which has been a theme because they did that in.
You know what that's from, right, Brian?
I mean, I've
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I was going to say I've seen that in. I was thinking of multiple things like
Raiders
that.
of the Lost Ark, when in the first movie of the Nazis, their skin melts off their bodies and their bones.
I was thinking, doesn't it happen in The Mummy too?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think
That's
it
what I
does.
was
Well, I think in a version, yeah. But the first thing that came to mind was another Indy reference because in Indy, the Nazis, their skin melts away, and then they essentially just like,
I mean,
go to
that
dust,
gif
you know?
of the guy in his face.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But I think essentially her essence is now in Kamran, like in a way. I don't think.
Well, so
What?
Like she still lives through him?
I mean, I don't want to use the term lives because I don't think she's going to be coming back to life.
I think it's more so just her ability, her maybe her legacy, the family tree, or I don't know how to describe it either. But whatever happened, she transferred something from herself to him, and maybe that's something that the Noor can do. But she clearly knew what she was doing. She knew that she was sacrificing herself for her son and giving up whatever she had for him.
100%. She knew she was gonna die.
Yeah, and maybe she didn't know what was gonna happen to him, like that he was gonna get these abilities. But like you said, she clearly knew that she was going in. It was a one-way trip, but she was doing it for him.
Yeah.
Or maybe she just flat out believed that she can get through. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think. I mean, I fully believe she thought that she was going to die when she walked into it, which again, very much similar of Harry Potter in the sense of the veil. And walk in and die. But I think it overall, like, I'm very curious to see. I don't know. Again, new property. Don't really know. I don't know if Kamran has those powers in the comics or if that's a new thing. So I'm curious to see. I mean, I could easily just look it up. But Vapeon, she said she can close it, which she kind of did and she didn't. She almost kind of like.
I mean, I'm not 100%. I agree with Andy here for sure.
Oh, 100%. She
that SOB deserved to die the most horrible death she could possibly die.
Yeah,
you know, but
seemed like she did. Didn't. I just see half of
upside. He's upside down.
I just see half a chicken leg.
Okay.
What
a turd!
It's funny. It's like his mom.
What a turd!
God. This episode is so fire that I have fire trucks now going down my street again.
I'm interested to the whole power aspect of all, whether it's adapted the same in the comics. Look, we know with superheroes and supervillains, for the most part, a hero and a villain or two or three, their powers sometimes are almost identical.
Yeah.
Right? Captain America, Winter Soldier, they're very similar until he became good, obviously. You have Iron Man with many, many versions of characters who have the same technology. It only makes sense for Miss Marvel to have someone who has the same ability as her, being that they're from a different dimension, and that power is kind of embraced through there. So I mean, it's interesting. I love the color of it, by the way. That like green blue. I think it's a really cool addition.
I just looked it up. It is 100%. He is 100%
a villain.
No, not a villain, but like.
Oh, okay.
The power type thing
Oh,
is
it's straight from the comic books.
it's a like here, look.
Okay, well, Vapion just said it seems close to the comics, which is good
Literally,
to know.
like
Oh, that's cool. I would love to see that. That's cool.
he's straight up like
It would be pretty cool to see like his energy source be too powerful to where it kind of overloads him.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. Does he have a name other than Kamran?
No,
an alias?
No,
he doesn't have like a villain name or anything.
No dual identity, just literally Kamran.
That's a bummer. Maybe they'll give him an. Oh wait, Terrigen Mist. Wait a second, hold on. He's unpacked and he was exposed to the Terrigen Mist and activated. Oh my god, that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. status. Andy, you know what I'm talking about.
So, I mean, he clearly has in some capacity. Oh, so here's the powers. Entire body emits a glowing bluish white energy stored with his energy. Kamran can channel the energy by discharging it as a shock or transfer.
So obviously they're not going the Inhumans route. I know Gordon just mentioned in the chat they're not going to go the Inhumans route just because we know officially now that they're not connected in any way. Yeah. They're just different beings from a different dimension. Or at least Kamran and Kamala, they are half of the Jinn. So I'm interested to see where his powers go and what that means and how he kind of adapts to them, if he's going to be a foe or if he's going to be a friend. But I think it's a good little twist. You know, obviously his mother wasn't going to be around forever, but Kamran was kind of being set up as someone who could be around for a while. So I like the addition of him kind of getting the powers from that, being that they're both from the same dimension. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how jealous this makes Bruno, though, if I'm being honest.
I mean, Brian,
whatever, same name.
Well, now he actually knows his name is Bruno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they're gonna end up being like a little band of friends that work together and have their own like little like neighborhood.
Team Arrow.
What?
Like Team Arrow and Team Flash.
Yeah, kind of like it, just like this little friend group that like helps each other.
Or Team Smallville. Team Smallville. There you go.
Sure. But yeah, and Bruno's gonna be like the man in the chair, you know, the tech guy, and then you're gonna have Kamala being the head of it, and then Kamran probably will be out there helping in some capacity. It's fun. I do enjoy, in a sense, not knowing things from the comics, because like this. Like him getting those powers, like I wasn't expecting. And then now looking at that being like, oh, sweet. It's a thing from the comics and it's going to be a thing. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm very interested to see how they go about it, because like you said, this is an Inhuman thing that, again, so they're probably just going to be more of this Noor dimension light power that is in this group of people. So
this is interesting though, that he's just straight up has powers. It doesn't need the bangle.
Yeah. She straight up sent whatever, because the mom didn't seem to have powers like that.
No, we would have seen him for sure.
Yeah.
She used what did she use as a weapon?
She used that that spear thing.
That's what it was. Yeah. So no, she definitely didn't have powers.
Yeah. I mean, unless you count like each one's weapon as a power, but I don't count that.
It seemed like they each had an ability as far as using the weapons, but yeah, I don't know if it definitely felt like the bangle was the only option. But now he's obviously the different breed of them. He has the ability to use it, and I'm interested in learning how he's able to. Does he like take energy and light from around him to use it? I do have a question for you though, Brian, because the second that he and Bruno got together, or not the second, but pretty quickly afterwards, like damage control was like on them. Like within a second. I'm interested in how that is Like, were they tracking
He might be trapped in
Cameron?
some way.
Yeah, like maybe they were kind of just waiting back to see where he was led or leading to. But it seemed like they were just there within a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't seem to be. I mean, it's not like they're going to have drones flying around neighborhoods, monitoring neighborhoods without like people noticing. If I knew someone was the government was flying drones constantly around to check on, like people are going to freak out. So like they clearly seem to have kind of like known maybe where he is, or maybe even like maybe they know Kamala's some attachment and they know Bruno, so they just had one there, monitoring Bruno in general. I tend to think that he's being tracked in some.
Yeah, like they almost like let him go.
Yeah, in some way or another, like they know where he is.
Makes sense.
So, I'm also shocked that she didn't end up with 2 bangles after.
Well, I mean, the way that she would have had to do it is if she took the one off of her grandmother.
I know. I thought that's what was going to happen. Like,
but if she took so then we're dealing with the whole time travel, screwing with existence type of stuff, like Back to the Future style things of taking one thing from the past. How does it affect the future and the present and the past? Like, then it just opens up a whole can of worms that we don't want to get into.
They kind of did that in a way.
I mean, did they? Did they though? Because we learned that the entire time she didn't actually go back in time and change time. It was always supposed to happen that way. It was always supposed to have her go back and save her grandmother. It was always her. It wasn't her great grandmother or anybody else. We learned that it was always Kamala. So if she took the bracelet, then it would have completely just blown things out of proportion. We would have had infinite numbers of multiverses break in front of us. Again.
Yeah. My brain
is saying
another one of these conversations.
That's what I'm saying. Like that we learned about it in Endgame when Hulk was talking to the Ancient One. It's okay. It's an alarm in the background. When Hulk is talking to the Ancient One about pulling stones right from the past and the present, but we have to place it back exactly where it was before. Same thing goes for a bangle. Same thing goes for a bangle. So
yeah.
Just saying.
No, I think you're right. That makes sense. I don't know. Who was it? Andy said, I think someone said, does she still have to wear I think she does. This one. Does she still need to wear the bracelet though? I thought that he said it unlocked her inhuman norness.
So
comes from
I think at some point there's a good chance we'll see her not use the bracelet.
Probably.
But I think for right now,
I think
until she because I guess the best example is that when Aisha died, we saw her eyes turn purple and use the abilities without the bracelet.
Yeah.
Right. So it's possible, but that was the first time Aisha used her abilities without the bangle on her wrist. So maybe there has to be some moment that kind of like unlocks it to where, you know, a family member in trouble or major focus or something like that. But I do think at some point the bangle will either be put to the side or destroyed, and she's going to have to adapt and fully embrace her Noor to use the abilities that she does have.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I'd be curious if they ever take away the bangle, because that is such a big part of her costume and character.
I guess.
I mean, because this whole entire show has been slowly building up her like final suit, essentially. When we saw the necklace, we saw the bangle,
the red dagger,
scarf, the scarf, the jacket, the mask. Am I forgetting anything?
I mean, she's had her tennies on the whole time.
I was going to say her tennis shoes have been there the whole time. Yeah. But she's slowly like adding to her, which I think is awesome. I love that they're doing that. I think it's so cool. because you don't see stuff like that. It's just very interesting. I think the Bengal is going to be around for a while. Like, it's going to be part of her to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if they just never, she's just never taking it off. It's just,
I think it's going to be a Thor Mjolnir situation.
probably.
I think we talked about this where, from what we understood, he needed to use his powers, but the second it's gone, destroyed, lost, whatever.
Yeah, he's not the god of hammers; he's the god of thunder.
Yeah, and I think at some point that'll happen with her. I don't think she'll need it forever, but I think for right now, because she's still only 16, like,
Yeah,
you know, we're gonna have plenty of time with her.
she's had her powers for like a week.
Yeah, like I think, you know, she's probably going to have it through the Marvels. And maybe at the end of the Marvels, it's broken or lost or stolen or something. And then she really has to learn how to use it. Or maybe that's why she's with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau, is to learn how to embrace herself and channel her powers or whatever, you know? I mean, there's definitely all kinds of crazy possibilities. But yeah, I think you're right. I think we'll see it for a little bit. And at some point, I do think the Bengal will go away. I think the Bengal at some point will probably end up being destroyed, and then she'll have to learn to be her without it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't think that'll be for a while, though.
Watch it just happen next episode.
I know. That would be... No, she has to have her complete look at least once. So,
do it. I'm interested now in... Hold on, I'm going to look this up.
What if she has the Bengal during
in any kind of promo images? If the Bengal is on,
yeah, the Bengal's on in literally our thumbnail.
Yeah, it is on. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's one where it's not on.
I've been looking to see if there's been a promo image with two of them, and I've only seen the one.
Yeah, it's definitely on everywhere. Even in concept art, it's on.
Yeah. One thing I believe you said, as well as me, I know I'm wrong. I don't know if you said it, about mom knowing what's going on.
Oh, we were totally wrong.
Okay, I couldn't remember what you thought, but yeah, I was completely wrong, at least on that. I thought mom would have some sort of idea, and she had no freaking clue.
It almost felt like she wanted nothing to do with it. The way that the grandma was kind of speaking, and then the way that she reacted is, I think her mother, it almost felt like her mother had so much regret and not anger, but just like frustration towards Aisha, that she wanted to know or hear nothing about their family past. And so her grandmother was essentially just like, all right, if you don't want to know, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's fine. But I mean, it's like, it was pretty interesting to see her react to the way that she did when she saw Kamala using her powers. And like, oh, you're the light girl. And I was honestly expecting kind of much more like crazy reaction, but I think her spending time in Pakistan back with her grandmother kind of made it a little bit more relaxed. But yeah, I think it was time for her to find out. I thought it was a well-timed process for her finding out about Kamala.
Yeah, and mom didn't seem to like freak out either. It was just kind of just like, I knew stuff was happening, like not to this scale, but like she didn't like freak out, and I think she kind of just like accepted what was going on. I mean, I'm sure she'll still be like a nervous wreck that her daughter's gonna be out.
Yeah, like how is that woman gonna let her daughter be a superhero? That's my big question, is how is that woman gonna let her daughter go out in the middle of the night and fight crime?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was freaking out when she didn't pick up her phone. That was so funny. You mean I've had spyware on my phone this whole time and no one's told me how to use
spyware for parents?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't watch this. I have her phone tracked just so I can make sure she's okay. That's exactly like what Kamala's mom does. So it made me laugh. Trying to think whatever. Doesn't seem like we're going to see Oh crap! I'm forgetting his name. The one that gave her the scarf.
Red Dagger?
Yeah, but what's his name?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't think of it. But
This is the first show that I've struggled with the names. It's just like we've met so many characters. There's like
Kareem,
10 different characters. So Kareem, yes.
Yes.
Aramis Knight plays Kareem.
Yes. Doesn't seem like we will be seeing him going with them to the United States.
No, but we'll see him again at some point.
Oh, 100%.
We'll definitely see him again. I just don't know when. The Red Daggers obviously play a pretty big role in this fight with the Noor, or alliance with the Noor, however you want to see it. But it's cool that they kind of had this parting gift, and he gave her the scarf that's so massively important to her ultimate costume. So
100%. I mean, it's literally in every single photo. Like, I mean, it's the thing that's dangling around her all the time. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of anything other that was big.
Not really. I mean, well, here's a question. What do you think is going to happen next? Like, do you think...
I think it's...
Do you think damage control is going to be revealed to be something else?
I think it's honestly going to be used to almost set up the Marvels.
I think it will too, 100%.
Like, I
don't think maybe like blatantly, but I think the post-credit scene of this show is 1,000% going to be everything Marvels.
Well, here's my thing. I think that it's going to set up a lot of things. I think I've been saying it from day one. I think that this is going to probably set up Secret Invasion in some capacity. I bet you.
Well, if there's scrolls, then yes.
I bet you that in some capacity they will be revealed as scrolls, which that will be a portion of the episode dealing with damage control, and then you're going to have the setup of the Marvels, however that plays out. And that's going to probably be the majority of your episode. Is like, they're obviously going to be fighting damage control. They're going to put them off in some way to make them leave them alone, or it's open-ended to the point where like it literally leads into Secret Invasion. Or it deals with the Marvels, essentially.
I think we'll see I think I think anything Marvels will be probably the post-credit scene.
Probably.
Or maybe the very end of the episode. If it's scrolls related, like if they are in fact in the final episode, then I think we'll probably see it earlier. I don't know why I feel like Cameron and Bruno are going to be captured and she's going to have to save them. Is kind of what I'm like feeling like. Because personally, sense. I don't see them getting out of what happened at the end of that episode. No, I know Cameron has powers, but they're brand new, and he doesn't know like what's going on. So it very much feels like it might kind of be in like a, Prison Break style episode where she's trying to save them, and maybe that opens up the ideas of scrolls, or maybe it's just straight up damage control. I don't know.
Maybe when she's trying to rescue them, the bracelet has some weird reaction to the scrolls being around, and
maybe
that. What if it like around them, the scrolls can't stay in their transformed thing?
So, do you still believe it's connected to the scrolls somehow? Because I don't.
What, damage control?
No, the bangle.
Not in the sense of like it's connected to the scrolls. I think it is going to like I think the show more is going to connect to the scrolls more than the bangle itself is going to connect to the scrolls. I mean, we still don't really know what this bracelet is, just kind of like, or bangle is, just like we don't know what the rings are.
Well, I wanted to bring up John's comment. He said, could the 10 rings be the missing bangle? No, because, well, I mean, I'm not ever going to say no, but in my opinion, I think they're probably from a different dimension or the same dimension. And they're just another artifact slash weapon slash cool piece.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it is in some way connected story-wise to a scroll or a Kree type.
I think it's related for sure.
Thing.
It's definitely related.
I'm not going to say that it's of Kree origin or scroll origin. I do think that those two, that the rings and the bangle probably have been, let's say, in contact with said alien race at some point. So, I mean, maybe. I'm not sorry. My mom just dropped a freaking bomb. And now Gabby just texted me too. But
you're good, Brian. I think we covered everything.
No, I do think that there is some history between either the scrolls or the Kree to the 10 rings or the bangle. I do think that.
Well, I mean,
there's at some point those races had some connection with those objects.
Well, I mean, we kind of already got that in that episode when we saw Aisha find the bangle. It was on a blue arm in a room that had the 10 rings on the floor. So it kind of already, in a way, is connected. We just don't know how. It's clear that the bangle and the 10 rings, or wherever the 10 rings are from, are connected in some capacity, whether it's the Kree, the scroll, I'm not sure. But if that one scene alone guarantees that it's all connected in some capacity, right? The bangle is from a different dimension. The 10 rings, according to the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, are a metal that aren't known to this universe because Captain Marvel's never seen it outside of Earth, and Mr. Bruce Banner has never seen it as far as an element on Earth. So they're clearly connected. We just don't know how. We don't know how the story is going to wrap back around. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Maybe that's how Kamala gets on their radar, is they kind of get a bleep of the bangle being used, and it's similar to what the 10 rings energy is. And now they're tracking it kind of around the world. And that's when Carol gets involved, or, Wong. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Wong pop up. I would not be surprised
right now. I think he's probably taking a little bit of a break after.
Because of Multiverse of Madness?
The BS that
he's still the Sorcerer Supreme. He can't take no break. Cannot take no break. See, like what Andy said. Carol didn't know anything about the 10 rings. The signal it was putting out at the end of Shang-Chi. It's putting out a signal. It was like bleeping, right? So what if now they're tracking similar things, and when Kamala goes full Miss Marvel and starts using that thing all over the place, they track her down, and that's when Carol becomes involved, or Bruce Banner, or whoever. You know what I mean? I think that's probably what's going to happen. Is they're 100% related. We just don't know how. It's just that simple.
Yeah,
it's just the chance that we see Carol. I'm going to give it a 75% chance, because I think there's probably a chance we actually see Monica Rambeau before we see Carol Danvers.
I will give it
75%. 75%, by the way, is a huge number. Huge.
I'm going to go number 85%.
You just had to one up me, didn't you?
Oh, I was going to go 80, and I was like, that's basically saying the same as him.
Because we don't know where Carol is. She's off in space somewhere.
I will say this. I don't know if I'm willing to bet that she is physically going to be seen, but maybe some type of message gets to her. Because, I mean, Kamala would freak out either way if she's just like, Kamala, I need to see you. She'd be like, what? Like, she doesn't need to, like, literally be, maybe in some haste of fleeing damage control, she gets some device. I don't freaking know. But I would not be surprised if she isn't physically there, but like somehow communicates with her. You are probably more correct because it would make sense. Like
For Monica to show up, you
for
mean?
Monica to be it and just be like, hey, I need your help with something in space or whatever. And like, a la it leads. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. It's one of those two. I'm curious.
I mean, watch it be Nick Fury. I know the last time we saw him, he was going into space, but like,
or Talos.
like I like what Andy said. Right? Is the show's done such a great job of keeping a focus on Kamala, but it feels right for Carol to show up. I 100% agree with that. But I said it earlier on the show, in a couple episodes ago. I don't want the moment between Carol and Kamala to be short. I don't want it to be, just a moment that's run over to make sure that she's in the show, because meeting Carol is going to be such an important moment for the character of Kamala Khan. Meeting her face to face. I don't want it to be, okay, cool. Like, and then we move on.
And that's why I think it'll be more of like a hologram type. I don't know, just whatever. Because I could absolutely see it being like you remember when Aunt May finds out that he's Spider-Man and she's just like, holy, and it cuts. Yeah. I could absolutely see her like broadcasting a message, her just being like, okay. And then like the second Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel like goes to Pierce, she just goes, holy, and it just like cuts to some funny ending. Like I could absolutely sing that where it's just like, I 100% agree with you that I would be shocked if it's like, hi, I'm Carol. Nice to meet you. And then just like cuts
off, goes to black. It's very possible.
Yeah. I mean, anything's possible. It could literally just be like, hi, I'm Carol Danvers. I know who you are. Good. I have something I need help with. And then it just literally right there. I could see that too. There's a lot of possibilities as the church bells go off.
We'll see, man. There's next week's. It's very important. It's very, very important. So,
and then you won't get to see us for Marvel Rewind. No Fandalorian.
We're not that long. It's not that long.
Jake's gonna have free time that he's not gonna know what to do with. I mean, he has a lot of it.
It's literally the perfect timing with the wedding to have all this stuff off. It's such perfect timing.
Doesn't She-Hulk like start like right around the time of it too?
She-Hulk starts the week after.
Oh, perfect. Great. No honeymoon, straight back into Marvel Rewind. Yeah. But that's going to end it for us in this episode number 5 in our Miss Marvel series of the Marvel Rewind. Jake, where can the good people find you?
Qui-Gon Jake, 2 N's, because someone else took it before I did. Here multiple times a week. Marvel Rewind, Apocalypse Now. If you haven't checked out yesterday's episode, it was a lot of fun. We had Sean Wingblade from the Flick and Reel channel, and then our buddy Dom Brown, who has joined us multiple times on the channel, talking our favorite movies of 2022 so far. And then Certain Point of View as well, which is Schmodown related chat and a channel where we talk about everything that is the movie Trivia Schmodown. It is coming to a close, unfortunately, but we had a great discussion personally about what is going on with that and why maybe those decisions were made and what's going to be happening over the next couple months. So go check it out. Would love for you to check that out if you have not already. We had, an incredible discussion between the 4 of us, and we can't wait to see how the the Schmodown finishes things up.
Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere that he is. So be a Volcino on Twitter.
Oh, the Whiskey Jedi too. The Whiskey Jedi.
Yeah. And that too. I'm not on that one. Everything else though.
You've been on one episode, Brian.
Have I? It's debatable.
There's video proof. There's video proof.
Well, until then, we'll see.
And after happy hour this month, you're gonna be drinking whiskey with me on that show.
Well, we'll see about that. Be a Volcino on Twitter and Instagram. As always, thank you for joining us. We'll be here next week for the season finale of Miss Marvel and the Marvel Rewind. As always, stay safe. See you guys later.